Good news! Ad-free listening on Amazon Music is included with your Prime membership. Stay up to date on everything newsworthy with podcasts like The Daily, Up First, and 5 Things Uninterrupted at amazon.com/ad-free. Just head to amazon.com/ad-free to catch up on the latest episodes without the ads.
What was that?
That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud Phone System. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs.
You sound very...
Calm, I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Nice. Find your business calm at ooma.com/radio.
We're the Good Neighbor Network, FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, audio and video streaming at wgnsradio.com. This is the Roundtable, a look at the news, views, politics, and people that are shaping Rutherford County.
And good morning, everybody. Welcome to your Tuesday morning edition of the Roundtable show. Sorry, took a deep breath there and got hung up. But
you had a great weekend.
I did, man. Brian and I were busy talking, so it got me off on top of that too. We're talking about all about insurance today. Wayne, how are you, buddy?
I'm good, brother. Good weekend, except for all three of the teams I follow closely. Kind of took a beating this weekend. Of course, I'm happy the Vols won, but. My Blue Raiders and my Bulldogs, and what can you say about the Titans?
Same old Titans, just a different coach.
Yeah,
spending more money.
Well, I just, I'm just not going to go on. But it was. I'm glad we've gotten some rain. I would have told you a few days ago that I probably wouldn't have to mow my yard again till next spring, but it's kind of come back, so I'm happy about that. So we needed the rain.
Still hardly got any in our place. It's like a bubble that's over my house. I don't know what it is. It's a Nissan effect. I always say that. I'm right behind Nissan manufacturing, and the heat off that, I think, causes it not to rain.
Well, it could be. As a child, we, a school-age child, it just seems like the snow would either, for the most part, either blow north or blow south. Yeah. I can remember one year Birmingham getting like 12 inches of snow, and we didn't get a snowflake. So had to go to school, darn it.
That's right.
So, but you got to ride horses.
We did.
You had a great time.
Yeah, went to Illinois, and the storm headed our way because it seems like it went more north than west. So headed up our way. We had some pop-up stuff, but nothing sustainable. We had the wind. The winds came with it, but they've had a lot of rain up there compared to us down there. It was weird because everything was green. It's not like here; it's brown.
Yep.
It was pretty.
Yep. Leaves are changing. Rick got a great program, very appropriate here coming into the fall. Leanne Malone, owner of Cover My Assets Insurance Group. We've had Ms. Malone before, and she always leaves us with a lot of valuable information, especially for us older people. But Leanne, good morning, and thank you for being here.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Mm-hmm.
You're coming up on open enrollment pretty soon, aren't you?
Yes, Medicare open enrollment starts October 1st and runs through October 15 and goes through December 7th. And then the Marketplace under 65 open enrollment starts November 1st and goes through January 15.
It's been a minute since Rick and I have had you as a guest. Remind our audience a little bit about you personally, so they'll know exactly who they're listening to.
Sure. I have been in insurance now since 2005, so I'm on year 19. Started and really just love health insurance. That was where I started. It's where my heart is. I love being able to help people retire, have babies, start families, build businesses, it's just so exciting to know that we can help with that component that they worry about the most. Because when you're leaving a corporate job or you're making big life changes, what you don't want to have to do is base whether you can do it or not on your health insurance. So we help with that, and we do Medicare and under 65. So basically any health insurance need from birth until death, we can handle.
Pretty cool. How would you, of course, I'm well past 65 now, but someone who's approaching that age 65 that's getting ready to go on Medicare, how would you walk them through this journey?
Sure. We usually ask folks to start talking to us about 4 months prior to age 65. I've got some folks that want to start a year out. That's a little bit soon. We won't have plan details for the year they're talking about, so forecasting gets a little tricky for us, but 4 to 5 months out at the most, we can talk to you about what the process is, if you need to enroll in Part B or if you will automatically be enrolled, because depending on your work status and some things like that, you might have to do some work or you might not. We talk to folks if they're looking at retiring, but they're over 65, because that's a whole different way to enroll with some extra steps involved. And we want to try and make that as worry-free for everyone as possible. So typically 4 to 5 months out. 3 is pushing it. Anything less than that, it starts making me sweat a little bit.
You talk about Medicare. Maybe we start from the beginning. What Part A, B? Because I think every year it seems like people get confused about what covers this and that, because everybody's getting bombarded by the 800 calls. So they're throwing all these lingos at people that they're supposed to understand.
A, B, C, D.
So what is like Part A, B, C? What do they stand for? And
Sure.
what part of that insurance is important to you?
All of it. It's just structured differently. So A is hospitalization. That literally covers hospitalization. That is typically a free benefit, and I say that because it's an earned benefit. When you've earned a certain amount of Social Security credits, then you are able to get A at no cost. There are some folks that might not have earned those credits. They would have to pay a premium for A, but that's pretty unusual. B is the part that folks get kind of confused on, because B is the part that is medical, and it does have a premium attached. The base premium is what most of us pay. There are others that are higher income earners. They have to pay a premium base plus X amount, and that's based on a sliding scale that the government determines every year. C is Medicare Advantage. That is a type of plan that pays over and above Medicare. Great for some people, not as great for others. And then D is drugs. It's the one thing I think Medicare does 100% right, because it makes sense. D is drugs, and it covers Part D is your drug coverage. So A, B, C, and D.
So it's C is your optional part of that, right? Or does it come with it automatically?
C is one way that you can go. You can either have A and B and do a C, which is a Medicare Advantage, which covers over and above A and B, and it does typically include drugs as well, so it's kind of bundled in together.
Everything.
Or you can do A, B, D, drugs, and then a Medicare supplement, which also pays over and above A and B, but it's structured differently. So there's 2 different types to do.
And I think that's probably where a lot of confusion is, trying to decide, what's best for me individually. Would it be Advantage or would it be supplement?
And to me, that's a very personal decision. I do not feel like Medicare at all is, or even under 65 health, but especially Medicare, it is not one size fits all. I do not believe that everyone should be on Advantage. I do not at all believe everyone should be on a Med Sup. I believe that is based on you. It's based on your medical care. It's based on the drugs that you take. It's based on what's coming up in your life. We know we can't anticipate that completely, but we can certainly have a good idea of what might be coming if we have upcoming surgeries, if we have things that we're dealing with on an ongoing basis. Those things all factor in, and I routinely will have a husband and wife in my office together. They don't even go with the same company, because there is no advantage to that necessarily, or the same plan type, because one will come in and they've got super severe, significant medical issues. They need this over here. The other person has absolutely nothing. Their only thing they're doing is taking care of the one who's really sick. They don't necessarily need the same plan. Now, I'm not going to say that they won't take it, because sometimes ease and convenience of knowing one plan is easy, but it doesn't mean you have to. And there's no super big benefit for you to do that.
As far as the Advantage plans with all the different carriers, do they vary substantially?
Not substantially. Each carrier that offers Advantage plans, they all have to have a certain core amount of coverage. They can definitely offer some things over and above. There can be different dental benefits. There can be different vision benefits. There can be over-the-counter benefits. That those amounts can vary. But as far as the basic structure, those have to stay the same.
But there's a cost difference, right?
There
So
can be.
standard Medicare, and then there's Advantage plan. So you may be able to save money off an Advantage plan if what prescriptions you're on or what life events you've got going on may fit you better than what standard Medicare is, right?
Well, every plan, whether it's a standalone drug plan, for example, or whether it's a Medicare Advantage with Part D, has a standard formulary. And so I use my example from last year. I had a buddy my football buddy, we watch MTSU together, God bless us both, with how last year was. And I called him and I said, hey, blah, 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 football. And then I said, so, it's open enrollment and, I'm going to shop your plan, right? And he started, I don't want to change my plan. I'm fine with what it was. And I said, well,
Sounds like a guy.
I said, that's fine. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I said, but it's my job, my due diligence. And I have your drug list on my phone because I'm his medical power of attorney also. I said, so I'm just going to just check for you and see, because every formulary is different. They just are. They have to cover certain drugs certain ways. So I shopped it and I said, I'm not telling you what to do, but I just sent you some information. And if you stay with your current plan, it's going to be $5,000 for your drugs. If you switch to the one I sent you, it's going to be $2,500. Not telling you what to do. And he said, well, I guess you don't have to tell me what to do. I guess I'm changing plans. Yeah, you are, because that company that he was with was great for that 1 year, but they had formulary changes. Other companies covered differently for his specific drugs. But I had a ton of people last year that didn't need to make those changes because their coverage stayed the exact same with the drugs they were on. His were just some high dollar drugs and they were covered differently. So every year it's always good if you're on a substantial amount of drugs or you're on some of the higher dollar drugs. It's always good to have someone check those drug costs for you and see what they will look like for the next year.
What I can't wrap my brain around is with the supplement and the Advantage plan that supplement does a good job. I mean, it's glad to have it, and had a couple of knees replaced and everything, and so it worked out very well for me. But these companies with the Advantage plan, they zero out of pocket for drugs, I guess. Maybe not all drugs, but some of them. Or no?
No, there with Advantage plans for this year, there are a lot of zero premium plans, meaning you do not pay an additional premium. But typically, unless it's a true generic, there are not $0 drugs. And that's the case, to be fair, with a standalone Part D or with the Medicare Advantage. Because if you have your true generics at Publix, Kroger, Walmart, places like that have that really cheap list, some of the cholesterol medicines, things like that, those are always $0, but it's not specific to any one type of plan.
But with the advertisement, some of them talk about transportation and just a lot of things that I don't associate with the supplement plan.
No, and to be fair, if you're watching TV at 10:30 and Joe Namath comes rolling on there, just be aware that a lot of those benefits, like extra transportation and all these extra things that sound amazing, the part they don't tell you is if you're not on Medicaid, you don't qualify. So they talk a great game, and they're not technically inaccurate. Those benefits exist, but only if you are in that lower income to where you qualify. And we deal with a lot of phone calls with, no, I want that one from Terry. I'll kick Terry Bradshaw in the shin if I ever see that man for all the work he's done for me in trying to reverse, this stuff that he's talking about, because he is factually accurate, but they don't explain the qualifications.
Gotcha.
We explain the qualifications, and I don't want my clients to be qualifying for that. To be fair, I want them to have a robust income and a good retirement source. And, if they don't, that's great. We work with you, but I don't want you qualifying for that, because that means that you're truly having to watch every nickel and dime to a new perspective that I don't want you to have to do.
Sure.
What about so we're talking about the drug plan, like it seems like every year with my mom, and I come through you for that, and I usually bring the list of what subscription or prescription she's on for that year, if they've changed or not changed, and you're able to truly you're checking the market. So is that standard Medicare, or we can do these Advantage plans that, instead of paying that lump sum every month, that may be at a smaller cost, but you may not get some automatic things that Medicare may provide you with. But you can switch. Let's say you're on an Advantage plan, you can switch to Medicare like at the first of every month if you wanted to, right? It's a back and forth, or are you stuck on that plan for the whole year?
So we have open enrollment, which is October 15th through December 7th. That is a general open enrollment period for everyone. If you are on Medicare, you can make plan changes. You can go from Medicare Supplement to Medicare Advantage. You can go from Medicare Advantage to Medicare Advantage. There's things that you can do within that period. What you cannot do is in July call me up and say, I'm just not happy. I don't like this. This was a terrible idea, and I want to just change all these things. That they do have that open enrollment period very locked down for that reason. But it's also why it's so important to not deal with an 800 number with somebody you don't know, because they're going to sell you whatever product they're licensed for, they're contracted with. We are independent. We represent, oh my gosh, I think 10 carriers at this point, almost every carrier in Middle Tennessee. There's a few that contractually we're not able to do because we don't do their other products, but we just shop it out based on doctors, based on drugs, based on what's important to you and your needs every year, so that we can look and make those changes for you. If we think you're happy where you are, we're not going to try and get you to change. If, like my friend, I see something with the drugs that are super significant, because $2,500 is money. It's real money. I knew he didn't want to spend it because his biggest complaint had been, oh my gosh, my drugs are so expensive. Well, let's change that. And you get that opportunity to price those out based on company, and then make those decisions based on what's best for you.
Right. What about I was losing my train of thought there, long-term care? Is there a supplement that you offer for that if somebody calls in? Because I think that's becoming, as we get older, a push-button thing, if we should be buying in, or when's a good time to buy into long-term care or things like that.
I'd say when you're young.
Yeah.
Well, typically 50 to 55 is when you need to buy long-term care insurance, because it is medically underwritten, and it definitely gets harder to keep that in medical eligibility as you get older. I just base it on me. My goodness, I've had a knee replaced too. So you have to really plan ahead. You have to look and see on that. But age 50 to 55 is typically when we do that.
Good deal. Is it ready or not? Sorry, technical difficulties with a stapler. But, hey, I just want to bring up real quick, we're going to go to our first break, but this weekend's our Wings of Freedom Fish Fry. I know a couple of shows now we've been talking about it, and it's coming up, but that is this Saturday. It looks like the weather's going to be amazing out there.
Yep,
So gates open at 5 and starts at 6. Tickets are $50 a piece, and kids, 5 to 16, I think you can get them for $25. Yeah. And if you got a classic car, that's the deal of the day. You can show it with your classic car and pay $50, and you get 2 admissions, and your car actually goes out and a show area there. And I think Jerome Dempsey's worked pretty hard. I think we're going to have a big showing of classic cards.
Last
this
year
year
was huge.
Yep.
But you and I'll be cooking about 550 pounds of catfish
again, like last year. Yes, sir.
And the other trailer will be cooking chicken tenders and French fries. And is the National Guard still going to do the hush puppies?
As far as I know, that's who we got on tap for that. And,
but I'd like to remind everybody, it's a fundraiser, and all you care to eat food, all you care to drink. There are adult beverages, so we're celebrating. Of course, you were a K-9 officer, and we've celebrated a lot of military males and females over the years, and we're going for law enforcement this year. So hope you take a little bit of pride in knowing that how much we appreciate all that you've done, Rick.
I do. It's going to be a great honor. I get to go up on stage, and I guess it's all of us guys, past and present. Don Godby's a Smyrna officer that's a K-9, been for years, but he's our honoree this year. But it ought to be a great event. I hope everybody comes out.
That'll be a great time.
Hey, we're going to take our first break and be right back with you in just a minute.
Support First Shot at Autumn at the Alley. It will be held at Saddle Woods Farm on Franklin Road in Murfreesboro on Wednesday, September 25th from 6 until 9 p.m. It supports First Shot STEM Academy and Academic All-Stars initiatives. The night is a fantastic event with unique tastings from various spirit brands and great wines and food from the Alley on Main. Top the night off with a fabulous silent auction. Go to firstshotTN.org for more information, and see you at Autumn at the Alley September 25th.
Hi, this is Bob Cornell, pastor of Covenant Church right here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. The answer that you've been looking for is found in Jesus and what he accomplished at the cross. You see, Jesus changes lives from the inside out. We would love for you to join us at Covenant Church, located at 1124 Brinkley Ave right here in Murfreesboro. We have services Sunday morning at 10:30 a.m. and Tuesdays at 7 p.m. You can learn more about us at our Cornell Ministries YouTube channel. We want you to grow in Christ at Covenant Church.
All right, guys, it's Scott. If you're feeling tired, lacking motivation and drive, gaining weight, or noticing a loss of muscle mass, these could all be signs of low testosterone. Don't wait. Find out now. At Low T Center here in Murfreesboro on Medical Center Parkway, they make it easy to get your levels checked. And with their on-site lab, you'll get those results back in about 25 minutes. Low T Center is not a typical doctor's office. Their physicians specialize in treating low testosterone with customized therapy, or TRT, for each patient. The experts at Low T Center have over a decade of experience helping patients achieve life-changing results. And most health insurance is accepted for treatment. For established patients with stable T levels, they also offer a convenient, physician-monitored, self-inject treatment plan that ships directly to your home each month without the need to come into the office for weekly visits. And at Low T Center, you can also get your health evaluated for treatment with prescription GLP-1 weight loss medications. Yep, you can lose weight. Get back to your best. Go to lowtcenter.com to book your appointment today. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's health care.
This is Good Neighbor Events with Bart Walker. Brought to you by the law offices of John Day and AmeriCare Pest Control.
I've got pests, bees, buzzing, rodents running all through my house. Ants chewing wood, and look, there's a mouse. I've overrun with pests, but you're gonna be sure, safe and secure. It's the last rites for those pests. Call the best of the best to get rid of your pests.
893-7111. AmeriCare Services Incorporated. Call us today. 893-7111.
For over 77 years, you've depended on WGNS to learn what's happening locally. Some great plays to enjoy. A Raisin in the Sun at the Center for the Arts in Uptown Murfreesboro. In addition, The Sound of Music at the Springhouse Theater in Smyrna. Because of the weather last weekend, the Lee and Susan Moss family NICU reunion was moved from last Saturday to this Saturday. They're at the home of MTSU President Sidney McPhee and First Lady Liz McPhee. And after that, they'll give you tickets to the Duke game. Once again, the Lee and Susan Moss family NICU reunion was moved to this coming Saturday, noon to 3 at the MTSU President's Home. And of course, the Wings of Freedom Fish Fry is this Saturday. It's the 22nd annual Rotary Club of Smyrna's Wings of Freedom Fish Fry, this coming Saturday night at the Smyrna Airport. And this year they're honoring K-9 officers. It's homecoming week at MTSU, and go Big Blue. And Sunday is the first day of fall. Those are WGNS Good Neighbor events.
Rutherford weather.
We'll see sunny skies here this afternoon with a high into the mid-80s. Tonight, partly cloudy, low of 62. Wednesday, sunshine, high around 86 degrees. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki on News Radio WGNS.
Currently, it's 68.
WGNS is powered by Middle Tennessee Electric. MTE's Drive EV program has resources for members who would like to learn more about all aspects of EVs. MTE is developing programs and educational materials to answer member questions. Learn more at driveev.com.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at wgnsradio.com.
And welcome back to the second segment of Tuesday Mornings with Rick and Wayne, and it's our pleasure this morning to have Miss Leanne Malone, owner of Cover My Assets Insurance Group, and we're talking about open enrollment for Medicare, and I think we're also going to talk about under 65 as well.
Yes, under 65 health insurance marketplace open enrollment starts on November 1st and runs through January 15th.
I have looked through the marketplace, helping. Of course, now I send them to you, but in the past, I would try to help them navigate through the marketplace, which is difficult. Some of the carriers that they have listed there, I'm going, are these actual carriers? Because I did not recognize their names, and but you have a handle on that.
We do, yes. For as far as we have been told, for 2025, we have Blue Cross, we have Ambetter, we have United Healthcare, we have Cigna, and we have Oscar that will be in the market for Middle Tennessee for 2025.
So what is Oscar?
Oscar actually came out of New York. It's in 13 to 15 states, something like that. It's a decent network. All of them, I think, have their pluses and minuses. We do a doctor lookup when you come to us when you're under 65, because to me, being able to keep your doctors is super, super important. So we do a doctor lookup, and that's what I base who I tell you that you should go with on is who has your doctors. And so they're just one of the carriers that we use.
Tricky question because there's so many factors involved, but there's a lot of people that they can retire from their job, but they stay until that 65 to where they can draw their insurance because they stay in their job because of insurance. Mm-hmm. And it's income based, one, right?
Correct. Two
would be what kind of medications you're on, kind of a whole lot like a Medicare. So if they're on certain prescriptions, things like that, would that affect their pricing?
That doesn't affect your pricing. It's just who covers it the best. And we do that with the combination of the doctors that you see. Then we price out your medications, and then it is income based. So we factor in your income, and it's kind of tricky because at the end of 2024, I'm going to ask you what you're going to make for next year. Yeah. And I just go back to my favorite example. COVID 2020 showed us we don't know what's coming for the next year, but all we can do is our best guess. If you tell me that you're going to make $100,000 for your family of four, and then you have your best year ever, and you make $200,000, I need to be told about that, because otherwise at tax time, you're going to have a call to me in front of your accountant, and you're not going to like me much, and I'm going to remind you I told you to call me, because you're going to have to pay some of that tax credit back. Or if you estimate 100, you make 70, you're paying more in premium than you should have paid this whole time, at a time where you needed that money back in your pocket.
And I don't think very few people realize that's the case, that your income affects it the way it does.
Oh, it affects it dramatically. Absolutely.
super hard question. What's the range cost-wise? So if you're working for ABC Supply out here and you're paying every paycheck they're taking out, let's say $200 every 2 weeks they're taking out for your health care plan, and they want to retire, what's their average high and low costs in between that?
Oh, it would go anywhere from $0 to $2,000. And it honestly factors in by zip code, it factors in by family size, and it factors in by the income expected for that year. Because let's say that you work 8 months and then you're not working the rest of the year. Well, you can't tell me you make $50,000 a year if you're not going to make $50,000 a year. You need to adjust that down. You're probably going to make $38,000 for that year. That's a huge difference. And that will be the difference in a $1,000 a month premium versus a $300 premium.
Hypothetically, you have we'll just say a guy. He's just turned 65. He's on Medicare. He's gone Advantage. He's gone Supplement, but he's in that part of the health insurance. Mm-hmm. But his spouse is maybe he's still working, but again he's on Medicare. But his spouse is a homemaker, mm-hmm. and she doesn't draw any money at all. So if she has to go into the marketplace, I guess the family income is how it's determined. It's not since she's not making anything, she's going to be affected by what he makes or vice versa.
Well, it's still based on household income, but it's also still based on the age of household members. So even though the person that's on Medicare isn't on the plan, they do factor that into the age and income equation.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's I'm not abreast of under 65, so that's hard when I'm sitting here, and I can't. We have to be careful about what we ask you, because if you can't say a whole lot of things until that enrollment time, and we knew that going into that, so it hurts me to form questions, because I know some people out here are listening and wanting me to ask what I'm thinking, but you can't really answer it.
It gets tricky. I will say the thing that we're seeing the most of this year is the spam calls have gotten out of control for both Medicare and for under 65. They've gotten real clever. I had one come across my phone the other day that just said healthcare. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I don't answer numbers on my personal phone that I don't know. If I did not program the name in, I do not answer on my personal phone. Now, obviously, with my work phones, you do. On my work phones, I answer everything. But personally, I don't. We had a client call a couple months ago now. It was in July. And she said, hey, they're asking for documentation. I thought we did all this. Well, we did back in December, so let me look. So I started going through and looking, and I called her back. I said, have you been answering calls from numbers you don't know? She goes, oh, yeah. Well, my husband tells me I really shouldn't do that anymore. I said, well, I hope he enjoys what I'm about to say, because he's right. And she said, oh. I said, I know, but she was giving information out, just basic information to verify her coverage to these people. And she had her health insurance switched 7 times in 7 months. Because people would just randomly call and they were switching her. Now, fortunately, she was healthy. She didn't have any major health stuff going on. But if she was somebody who was undergoing cancer treatment and had met a deductible and out of pocket for that year, it would have reset 7 times. And those out of pockets are almost $9,000. That is a huge amount of liability that she would have taken on herself for answering a phone call she didn't know. So 100%, if you don't recognize the number, meaning you did not program that number in your phone, let them leave a voicemail. If it's truly important, they will. The scammers and the spammers do not leave voicemails typically. Just don't, because we are seeing it happen. Even to me, if I rarely do answer, they're still trying to, well, I just need you to verify. No, I didn't call you. You called me. I don't need to verify anything. So be really alert, and that's with anybody. It doesn't matter if it's Medicare. It doesn't matter if it's under 65. These bots are out
Yeah.
in force. It's scary.
Do Advantage plans cover you if you're out of state? How does that work?
They're all network based. There are plans that have reciprocal coverage, and there are plans that are more locally covered. So in case of a true emergency, absolutely. But if depending on the plan structure, you would have to call and get authorization.
Okay. So with Advantage plans, did you say that there were pre-approval required for procedures, or no?
Mm-mm.
No.
I did not say that. No.
Okay.
There are certain in the under 65 and in Medicare, and I feel that at this point that's just kind of universal. There are pre-authorizations. I couldn't walk into my doctor's office right now and say I need an MRI, my knee hurts, because the insurance company's going to go, no, friend, you need to get an X-ray, you need to get an exam, you need to do this and that, because we require these steps before you jump to a $5,000 test. Those are pretty standard in all aspects of health insurance at this point. It's not specific to one type.
Okay.
My experience, it seems like with the Advantage plans, there's a lot of preventative things that are in there that are built in, so you can save money and get things and these checkups and things like that. I think the only difference between a true Medicare plan and an Advantage plan would be is once you do have an event, the way they look at if you got to go to skilled nursing, let's say for rehab or something like that, in that 100 days, they may look at that weekly or every 2 weeks and look at it again and how you're progressing versus Medicare plan may not. You use your 100 days and you use your 100 days. That's how they look at it. So they usually will check back in and things. Same with, let's say you get out of the hospital and you got home health care, then you got so many days that you're allowed, and those, they may check in with that and they may end those services early because they say you've hit this level in your ability to move around, so we're going to end it on such a date, and then they disenroll you, which is a good thing because it's obviously saving money. At the same time, is if you've really got some issues going on, then that them ending early a lot of times costs them more money on the back end because they relapse or something happens from that. And you might be able to talk to that more, but that's been my experience.
The preventative part I can speak of, and I love that part because over the last few years, the preventative part on both Medicare Supplement and Medicare Advantage has really been beefed up. It includes things like colonoscopies, which are not pleasant but are necessary. They're very important because it does help. Anything that you can do preventatively stops those costs down the road because you can address it when it's there right at the beginning versus, okay, well, I just lost 30 pounds and now I don't know what's wrong with me. Well, they paid for your physical and they paid for these tests and they paid for these vaccinations for the flu and pneumonia and things like that to keep you healthy. And so I really appreciate the focus on preventative to try and keep you healthy from the jump instead of triaging you because it wasn't covered all those times and now we're having to deal with you sick. As far as pre-authorizations, I still feel like that's a company thing because I have dealt with under 65. I have had folks over 65. It's just a company thing. It's who they send those claims to either approve or disapprove. But to me, that is just more of a company issue. It's not necessarily a government or Medicare issue. So for me, because I've seen it on all ages of all kinds of all people.
Rick just got the book.
Yes.
I just come in the mail.
Yeah.
The Medicare Bible, yes.
Exactly.
So is there anything in
it's not
that?
For me, by the way.
Right. Young whippersnapper. Is there anything in that you are allowed to address yet, or are you pretty much muzzled until the middle of the month?
The one thing I can talk about, because it has been advertised quite widely, is that the maximum for drugs with Medicare for 2025 is dropping down to $2,000, which is a huge, huge difference over this year. They're eliminating those massive out-of-pockets for everybody $2,000 will be the maximum, and that is a significant change. So that I can say. Anything else gets into plan specifics, and I'm not allowed to talk about that until after October 1st.
Like I said, you're muzzled for a little while.
Yep.
It's hard to believe Leanne's muzzled about something.
Yeah.
Well, somebody had to do it.
When we come back, do you want to talk about death panels? just kidding. Just kidding.
You're listening to Leanne Malone. She's the owner of Cover My Assets Insurance Group, and her phone number, by the way, if anybody's hearing her and want to look into it, is 615-345-0411, or email, I guess, sales@covermyassets.com. Would that get to you?
That'll get to me. Yep.
There you go. So there'll be a couple ways to get to her. Also, before we go to break, I'm going to bring up the Coos Memorial Run is this weekend. It was last Friday.
Right.
Due to weather. They canceled it and moved it this week. Enrollment is closed, but I understand if you call the town of Smyrna Parks office, you may be able to twist the arms down there and maybe get you a slot in there if you want to run this Friday night. But just want to let everybody know about that.
Or walk.
Yeah, it's all right. Just show up.
Yeah.
So take our second break. We'll be right back with you in just a minute.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now.
800-488-2594.
Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call
800-488-2594. That's 800-488-2594.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
Hi, this is Chip Walters with Exit Realty Bob Lamb & Associates. You might know me as the voice of the Blue Raiders, but I want to be your trusted advisor in real estate. Whether you're buying or selling, it's time to choose Chip. Do you have a growing family and need to upsize? Are you an empty nester now and need to downsize? Are you thinking of selling your current home but just worried you can't find something else? Well, it's time to choose Chip. I'm looking to be your trusted advisor in real estate. I'm Chip Walters with Exit Realty Bob Lamb & Associates.
This is Kim Dunaway from Sunshine Nutrition Center. You hear me on Monday mornings at 7:20 talking about how to lead a healthier lifestyle. We carry supplements, personal care, and grocery items at both our Murfreesboro and Smyrna locations, family owned and operated since 1989.
At Bud's Tire Pros, we sell all major brands of tires, and we invite you to stop by today for that next set of tires. Or maybe you need us to check out your vehicle before you head out of town. We offer everything from brakes to batteries, alignments, and more. No appointments necessary, just stop on by.
I'm Allison Mitchell with Bud's Tire Pros. We're located on East Main Street, exactly 3 miles from the town square, 1 mile past Rutherford Boulevard. Visit us online at budstirepros.tn.com.
Rutherford County is one of the fastest growing communities in Tennessee. This is Mike Klassen, the general manager at Middle Point Landfill. As a Class 1 landfill, Middle Point accepts non-hazardous municipal solid waste, approved special waste, and commercial waste. We have served this region for 2 decades, providing free disposal to all Rutherford County residents and low-cost disposal to Rutherford County businesses. Learn more at middlepointlandfill.com. For public services, we are sustainability in action.
Premier 6 Theater on Broad in Jackson Heights.
Let's all go to the movies.
Check out what's showing at murfreesboromovies.com. Popcorn popped fresh daily.
Movies at the good old
Premier 6 on Broad in Jackson Heights.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at wgnsradio.com.
And good morning and welcome back to the third and final segment of Tuesday Mornings with Rick and Wayne. And we've had a really educational program this morning for really literally all of us. Leanne Malone, who owns Cover My Assets Insurance Group. We've talked about Medicare, we've talked about Advantage plans, we've talked about supplement, we've talked about under 65. So, we're covering the entire gamut this morning. And I was kidding about the death panel, of course. So we were talking about such serious stuff. I thought I'd add just a little bit of comic relief.
Right. Well, I can go a little further on something that's lighthearted but ties into all this too. Travel insurance. So I just got back from a cruise, which is why my voice is all scratchy. I'm convinced it was the airplane ride, but that's just me. However, travel insurance. I get a lot of folks that will ask me, well, I don't need travel insurance. And I'm like, okay, are you leaving the country? Yeah, but I have health insurance. Okay, let's talk about that. Travel insurance, there's two types. There's medical travel, which just covers any medical expenses you have. Then there's travel insurance, which is what I carry on me every time I take a trip, because it covers things like medevac. It covers in case your luggage is lost or stolen. It covers in case you have to spend the night in a hotel versus sleeping in the airport floor. It covers those type of things. And most plans do cover really small amounts. They might cover $5,000 to $50,000 in travel, but on the cruise I was just on, we had somebody that ended up being medevaced home from Cozumel. When you buy a travel insurance policy, those will run up to $500,000 in medevac services, and I don't want to be stuck in a foreign hospital where I don't necessarily speak the language. I'm certainly not at my best, and not understanding what's going on around me with my care. I want to be medevaced home. And those travel policies will cover that. It covers dental in case you chip a tooth because you were going at that coconut just a little bit too hard. It covers, those type of things, and it will cover that, as opposed to you get medical care somewhere and they won't let you leave the ship. They won't let you leave the port because you don't have that money to pay for it.
That's what I'm saying. It's usually an out-of-pocket issue, and it could be several $1,000s.
It could be many thousands of dollars, but you file that travel insurance, you get that person on the phone and say, hey, here's what happened. They'll pay it for you.
So does travel insurance transport, unfortunately, your body if the worst situation happens?
Yes, it would actually provide an escort home so that you would be able to bury someone if they died overseas. Okay.
I think, is that called cartage or something like that?
Unsure of the term.
Yeah.
So what's the average cost of that?
The
two between medical and travel.
Well, it's all in one with the policies that we sell typically. I just paid, it was $85 a person. It does depend on age. It also depends on trip cost and trip length. So if you're going for 3 weeks, obviously your cost is going to be more. But we also have annual policies that we'll sell. Those run anywhere from $200 to $400 a year. And if you are somebody who takes frequent trips, then we suggest you just get an annual policy, because then it's covered. I actually had to file a claim on a travel insurance policy myself. A friend of mine and I were going to Australia, and he got really, really ill and was unable to travel. And so we went to his doctor and said, we need you to write a letter saying he can't go. And the doctor was like, oh, I've been waiting for you to tell me that you weren't going, because I wasn't going to let him go. It was an 18-day trip. It was just too much for him physically. He wrote us a letter, we submitted it, and within 3 weeks we had everything but our deductible, both of us, refunded to our accounts. It was incredible.
Yeah.
And it was the most money I'd ever committed to a trip, so I was particularly thankful.
I guess it's deceiving, because I know if you do one of these group kind of airfare, rental car, and hotel things, there's a insurance policy you can get over that just that portion, and that covers or recoups some of the costs if your flight gets canceled or something like that, as you've paid these deposits or money out of pocket and you can't recoup. You can use the insurance claim for that. I think it's really big during COVID, because so many flights were getting canceled and things were having on it started hitting on. But this travel is more the medical side of it.
Well, too, we had some folks, so pro tip, if you're ever going on a cruise, go to Facebook and look up your cruise, because there's a whole group of people that you can chat with about all these things. But a few of them had bought the trip insurance just through the cruise. Yep. Well, that's great, except What if your flight gets canceled? What if you miss a connection? It doesn't cover those things. It only covers you on the cruise. If you get a standalone travel policy, it covers all the things. I fly out a day early without exception and I always do the early flight because I want to know if my flight gets bumped or moved, I've got enough time to drive, probably with a bad attitude, wherever it is that I need to go that next day. I mean, we went out of Galveston. That was a 12-hour drive, but I was totally prepared if something had happened to my flight to rent a car with my group, and we were going to just take shifts and drive straight there so that we could make our cruise. If we just had the cruise insurance, it doesn't start until you get on that ship, and it wouldn't have helped us. So, and the price difference is not very much at all, if any, to cover all of the things. And we sell them by trip, we sell them by group. I travel with about 6 to 8 people at every time, and we all just buy the same policy. But if one of us were to have to claim it, all of us don't have to do that. But if I had a relative get sick, very, very sick while I was on that cruise, they would fly me home. That's a big deal. I've got an aging mom with me. I don't want to sit there and be worried about her if something happens. If I need to go home, I need to go home.
Mm-hmm.
How many different carriers do you have for that type coverage for the travel?
We use 2.
Okay.
Yeah, we have 2 that we prefer just because we like their ratings.
And good experience with them in the past, I suspect.
Mean, great for me. And we also do travel medical. So, for example, I have a client whose daughter is a student away in Europe. And I was talking to him about all his other insurances. He was retiring. We got him set up. We got the kids set up. He goes, what about my daughter? She's in whatever country. And so we put a travel medical on her because all she needed was to make sure she had medical coverage. And she went head over handlebars on a scooter 14 days after we put that policy in place, broke a few bones, and they got all their claims covered medically because of that, where if we had just relied on stateside insurance, if they had paid it, it would have been maybe $2,000 to $4,000 total, and it was a $20,000 bill. And his policy only cost, I think it was $500 for the year for her.
If we could go back to Medicare for just a second. So hypothetically, someone works, they love what they're doing, they get past 65, they're still on the group plan with their carrier. They would need to go ahead and file for coverage A at 65. Is that correct, or does it matter?
No, not anymore.
Okay. As long as you have, do you need a letter of credible coverage in order to do all of this? Say they're 70 when they decide to retire from their industry and they come off the group policy. What would they have to do to jump through those hoops to get covered by Medicare in a supplement or advantage?
Okay. There's a late enroll, Medicare Part B late enroll form that they would fill out and they would give to their HR department, and their HR department would confirm, check the box, fill it out and sign it, saying that they have had creditable drug coverage since they were 65, and they would turn that in with their Part B application to the Social Security office.
Okay. But should they have had A in place already since, or does that matter?
No, it doesn't matter.
Okay. I don't know why I thought of that, but it just something I just thought I'd ask.
Mm-hmm.
Something I asked you off air, we were talking about HMOs and PPOs and Medicare and how that runs under 65, and if some people, they get to where they like one or the other, how does that affect your Medicare or your under 65 plans? Those go away, right?
Well, typically with Marketplace these days, there are not HMOs and PPOs. They're all called EPOs, which is Enhanced Provider Networks. Mm-hmm. Those are kind of a new thing around here. But again, we base Marketplace coverage on, you give us a list of doctors, you give us a list of drugs, we tell you who covers what. We go with that carrier for that year. It is why they have open enrollment, because you might have a doctor pick up a carrier, you might have a doctor drop a carrier, and we can make those changes there. As far as Medicare, there are HMOs and PPOs that you can choose from. Each one of them have certain benefits, either plus here or minus there. But those again are based on doctors, they're based on drugs, they're based on your zip code, because the same plan in Middle Tennessee, where we have 3 hospital networks within 10 miles of each other downtown, is not the same as someone who lives in Lawrenceburg, because they don't have those resources like we do. So it is based on zip code also. I can't sell somebody in Lawrenceburg the same type of plan necessarily that I can sell somebody that's in Smyrna.
Gotcha. What are we missing out? We're drawing down here. So I think highlight-wise, changes coming this year that are new is, one is there's a cap on your out-of-pocket costs for prescriptions. It's going to cap at $2,000 this year, which is huge. Huge
for everyone. For on Medicare, it's just huge. Yeah, that's the main thing. The main thing to know is deal with somebody local. Don't deal with an 800 number on somebody you don't know. Folks like me that are independent agents, we don't charge for our services. You can call me, and if you're on something that I think is best for you after we do our due diligence, I'm going to tell you to stay with it. I'm not going to tell you to change plans so that you can be one of my customers. You're still one of my customers. You called me. So you can call me every year, and I'm not the only person in this area, certainly, that does this, but it's so helpful to have a person, not a random 800 number, to call and ask a question about, hey, I've got an upcoming surgery. Do you know if they cover this? Or what about this drug here? You know, those kind of things. We're able to check on that. And then, of course, the main thing to know is open enrollment for Medicare, October 15th through December 7th. Open enrollment for under 65 Marketplace, November 1st through January 15th. And the thing to know when you call one of us is, if you call me on October 14th, I can't sell you a policy, and I will not. I can't give you, I just can't do it. Same with Marketplace. If you call me trying to get a jump on it in the middle of October, we don't even have the rates. So we can't. They make it to where they give you those open enrollment periods, but trying to get it in early, other than getting on a schedule, we really can't look that up or give out that information.
Gotcha. So how does somebody find you again? What's your website?
Sure.
Phone number, email, everything.
Our website, covermyassets.com, is covermyassets.com. Phone number 615-345-0411, and our main email inbox is sales@covermyassets.com.
All right.
So how many of your clients have fun with your business name?
We have people laughing every time we answer the phone because I'll say Cover My Assets Insurance Group can help you.
Can't forget it, really.
I can't believe you answered that way. I'm like, I pay taxes on this name. I'm answering that way every time.
If I'd gone off the rail, I'm sure Brian would have cut me off. So
He's had his hand on the button the whole time.
Yeah. Thank you for being with us. God bless you for the information that you shared with
thanks for
everybody
having
this
me.
morning.
Yeah. I too want to thank you very much. We used to partner next door to each other for several years. When before I moved away from her. She's never really gotten over that.
I have not. It's boring in the hallway now.
Still pining
at our
over
buds,
you,
yeah. But again, everybody, hope you enjoyed our show, and hope to see you this weekend at the Wings of Freedom Fish Fry in Smyrna. But everybody have a great week, and we'll be back next week.
Yes, sir.